What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. This week, we're going to be talking about the big UFC 284 pay-per-view going down this weekend in Perth, Australia, headlined by the super fight between the featherweight champ Volkanovski and the lightweight champ Makhachev. Also got the interim featherweight championship between Yair and Emmett. So it's a pretty fun card. Some lower level prelims, but I'm pretty excited. Got a lot of bets that I'm excited to share. So joined by my co-host as always, Ozzy. How we doing this week, my man?
Pay-per-view week. We love to see it. Good card at the okay card, I would say. Main card I think is intriguing. I'm a guy that I kind of like it when they put some intriguing stuff on the prelims. Honestly, whether it be like a debut on prospect or two guys like let's say like that Saeed versus Saeed Kakramanov fight. I like stuff like that. So I think that is slacking that a little bit. I usually like being up for the prelims portion of it. Not going to be the case this time. But imagine if they had Robert Whitaker and Paulo Costa on this card.
Mm.
That would have been an incredible card. That would have been they would have had that fight, the Randy Brown versus Jack fight, and then I guess one other fight on the main card in addition to the title fights. That would have been pretty sick. So I'm hoping UFC keeps coming strong with the pay-per-view cards. They're seeing some stuff fall apart overall, but yeah, we're good, cool card last week. We're staying international this week, so let's see what we got.
And I think it wasn't Waldo. Yeah, Waldo Cortez was supposed to be on this card too, man. That would have really elevated
Waldo,
shit.
Waldo versus that Tafa guy who I heard someone said that Tafa guy is a good kickboxer. I don't know.
Mm.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, man, there were a lot of good fights that got canceled. That Zhang Chinese guy from the road to UFC is out of Pedro Kaikar, France versus Alex Perez was supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've been putting together some good pay-per-view cards. Bad luck has been falling upon it, but hopefully that Miami card and I saw that Jalen Turner's fight came apart for the John Jones card, but yeah, I'm hoping they keep matchmaking well for the pay-per-view ones.
Yeah, a lot of all.
And we're seeing they're going back to live events. It's like a live event at least every month now, I guess, right? So they have that April card in Kansas City. And they're gonna do a New York card, another one. So stuff.
Yeah, it's all
More
right. They
Apex.
they still need to cut down on the Apex. I'm pretty sure they've.
We're working. We're working. We gotta build, Martian. We gotta build back up.
Well, last week was a good week. The late card, I profited 1.8 units on track bets. My big bet on Jubilee, most confident read there was pretty spot on, and great live bets. Tabura and Clark specifically, just big plus money while they're winning the fights. I mean, the Clark one was one of the strangest live lines I've ever seen. I mean, he won round one, pretty much start to finish. He ended round one on top, landing ground and pound, and he was a wider dog at plus 270 than he was before the fight. I mean, seriously made no
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe what it was that there was a script and Devin Clark broke. He broke the script.
sense.
But but you know what it is. What we were saying last week was Devin Clark. A lot of his fights when he wins them, they kind of go according to a certain plan. He survives early on or whatever it is. He gets his groove on, but he usually wins by decision. And it was similar to Alonzo Menifield fight. Like he kind of like kind of evades damage for the most part, and then kind of he got his wrestling going better in this fight. But yeah, plus 230, that was a super good underdog. You didn't really have to sweat that one that much.
Right. And then you didn't track any bets, but then how
Oh. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think anyone who followed, anything we did, that what's it called, Karakaya bet that you gave out at the end of it was great. Tybora came through, Jubilee. Derek Lewis didn't come through, but we weren't, too invested in that fight. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good card,
man, that fight
and
was hilarious.
some good prospects coming out from it. We told you that Nakamura was, super legit. And that guy, I really do think that guy has like top 20, top 15 potential for sure.
The
No
way
doubt.
the way Spivak was like controlling Lewis's wrist and then just dragging him down to the mat, and like Lewis would just land like face first into the canvas, and
That was tough.
it happened like 4 different times, man. That was
Tough.
great. Yeah, I had
That was tough because that's like the only thing Sergey Spivak is good at is like riding the back, like wrist riding, and Derek Lewis had no answer,
none.
absolutely
Yeah.
none, zero.
Yeah, I had last thing I'll say is I had 2 bets, Spivak round 2 and then Junyon Park round 2 that were both, a minute away, but unfortunately didn't get there. But those round 2, 3 props are always good. I like looking out for them. But enough about last week. Let's get into the first of these 13 fights. Uninteresting fight to start. Now, this fight on Tapology says 145, but on the UFC website, it says 155. I think I trust the UFC on this one. So it's Zubaira Tukhugov moving up to 155, taking on UFC newcomer Elvis Brenner. And the line for this one is Zubaira, a massive favorite, minus 600, Brenner plus 400. I mean, it's hard to really justify Zubaira at minus 600. The guy's kind of an underwhelming fighter, kind of historically slows down and gasses out in some of his fights. And even when he's winning the fight, he's kind of a lay and pray artist. So I definitely don't advise minus 600. Definitely leave this one out of the parlay. There are some, chalk favorites that you can make a parlay with, but I'd say leave this one out, man. Brenner looks no good at all to me. He can be stuck on bottom for long periods. And in the striking, the only area of the fight I think he can have success potentially, he just barely throws any shots, doesn't really have much intensity behind his strikes. So I don't see him having much of a chance to win here. And he's also probably going to be a much bigger underdog live because Zubaira typically starts fast and fades. But moving up to 155 may resolve some of his cardio issues that we've seen historically. So no bets on the fight. I kind of think that goes the distance is the only bet that's worth it here. But I'm not. I don't think I can even get there myself. So anything for you here?
Nope. I mean, Lucas Brenner, I think he trains in the Oliveira. He's from the Oliveira camp shootbox. Has some submission wins. Is only like 25 years old. Like he said, 155 should be better for Tukhugov. The guy consistently misses weight, or something off with a weight cut. So I think they gave him this fight, and they're like, "Hey, man, like, look, make weight here. You're Khabib's boy, but and Islam's boy, but you got to make weight if we're gonna keep you." So I think he's gonna win the fight. Probably uses some takedowns, but like you said, these shootbox guys, like we saw in my bet that went down in flames, John Castaneda, beforehand, they don't stop. Like these guys have a high motor. Tukhugov does not have the greatest motor later in fights, but that could be a recipe for Zuhurov actually knocking this guy out, though, because he does have some powerful punches, does throw some. He has like full commitment on them, oftentimes. So I could see him landing a big shot on this guy and finishing him. But I have zero interest in this fight or either of these guys in their careers.
Yeah. Not to go on for a fight that nobody cares about, but his past 3 fights that went out of round 1, all decision losses. So that kind of points to him, not really being the best cardio guy himself too. So moving along to featherweight division, Blake Bilder taking on Shane Young here. Bilder making his UFC debut. Young coming off a long layoff. Young's the favorite, minus 135. Bilder plus 115. So Northeast guy, former CFFC champion. What are you thinking about Bilder coming into the
Blake,
UFC?
Blake the Builder, can he build it? Listen,
Wait,
Blake
Blake?
Builder,
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought his name was
Blake
Bob.
Builder. Like you said, CFFC champ. Came kind of more like he's just a real scrappy guy. He's got only 8 fights. Hasn't lost, has a draw in there. Strong. Featherweight. I don't really know what his primary style. Like obviously, like I said, he's a grappler, but he's not like I don't. He was confusing to me in like those fights, those last like 3 fights that he won in CFFC. I thought he's gonna lose the first 2 for sure, and then by the third one, or he only had 2, but I thought he was gonna lose both of them. And then going into the contender series, I was like, you know what? These Canadian guys, they don't know how to grapple like dudes from the that win CFFC titles. So I bet on him, and he won. But I think here against Shane Young, I think this is a bad style matchup for him. Just because Shane Young, he's very intense in there, right? If you see that viral clip of him doing a haka, before like at a stare down, the guy's insane. But he's pretty consistent, I feel. He's like a high floor guy. The last 2 guys that he fought really, really good athletes in Omar Morales and Ludovic Klein. So I think that was like just a little bit too much for the style that Shane brings. He's kind of like looking to chip away at you, kind of just, throw a lot of quick, shots in succession. If it goes to the clinch, he's cool with that. He could fight on the ground as well. Um, and he's just a well-rounded guy. I did see him looking in pretty good shape as well this week. 93 guy. Obviously, we like that. So I think he's gonna be just a foil for just the momentum that Blake kind of needs and needs to get going in these fights for him to win. A lot of these fights he's kind of losing them or they're a little bit even, and then he kind of like finds an opportunity, he latches onto something, or he lands a big shot or something like that. So I side with Shane Young. I don't have too much of a feel on the total here, but I still think there's some value in Shane Young here at the minus 135 price. I think it's gonna close more like the FanDuel minus 150, but a guy who has been out for a while as well. So, want to be careful with it. But I do think the fight will go the distance. So I would look into maybe him winning by decision.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with pretty much everything there. I don't have a good feel on the total here. I think I might just slightly disagree with it going the distance, just because Builder seems to walk right into punches. I mean, this guy had a pretty nice finish, on the Contender Series with that punch behind the ear with the back take. But I mean, watching some of his fights before the contenders on CFFC, man, this guy is very vulnerable to punches. He's been dropped and hurt multiple times. I mean, both Buenafuente and Carvalho, I mean, dropped him really bad, like had him, one punch away from being knocked out cold. And I got to give the guy credit. He is good at coming back from adversity and staying in fights that he's losing, and he's definitely that type of fighter who will, get beat up for a while, then come back and win, kind of like almost like a Brandon Royval type of style. But I mean, that's a bad style for a good UFC weight class like 145 here. Shane Young is coming off that long layoff and hasn't looked great lately. But I still think the guy should have the striking to give a lot of issues to Builder on the feet. I'm not impressed with Builder's wrestling, and I don't think he's going to really take down Young here. I think Builder is going to need some sort of back take or something to win the fight because the striking man, I mean, he is just bad defense, bad chin, and I think Young will piece him up when the fight's on the feet. So I think there's a good chance Shane drops him here and hurts him. It's just a matter of can he put it away or not. And yeah, I like Shane's money line as well. I took it minus 134. The line really hasn't moved yet. Um, so I don't know. Maybe people are seeing something we're not here, and they're gonna keep taking Builder. But I would be happy to add if the line kept coming in. So that'll do it for that fight. Moving on to the women's strawweight division, Loma Lookboonmee taking on Elise Reed. Loma, big favorite, minus 285. Reed plus 245 here. Um, big fan of Loma. She's got great technique on the feet in the clinch. And she can even hit takedowns on some women as well, and got consistent cardio. I just think that she comes, prepared for the full 3 rounds each and every fight. And Reed, I just don't think presents any unique problem to Loma that she hasn't seen before. She Reed, I mean, kind of just a worse version of Sam Hughes. I mean, Hughes actually destroyed Reed when they fought, but Loma was able to defeat Hughes, pretty pretty easily. It was 29-28, but there wasn't much trouble there in that fight for Loma. And I just think that on the feet in the clinch, Loma's gonna probably trash her. And I think that the only thing you could really be worried about is just kind of sketchy judging. But Loma usually puts a pretty good seal in these rounds, and she's won a lot of her fights by unanimous decision. I think she's pretty safe here, and I do have a parlay, and she is one of the legs. I will, update you on the later legs, because I was against laying this juice. I'm not betting past minus 250 anymore, but I have a little bit of an exemption here if I'm parlaying a few of them here. So, any thoughts here? Or are you just thinking, Loma by decision?
I mean, I don't care about this fight at all. Yeah, I would say Loma by decision, but Elise Reed. Yeah, I mean, Elise Reed, she just don't have much to offer. Could I see her maybe land a shot on Loma? Who knows? I mean, maybe like a kick or karate kick. But yeah, total trash fight. I mean, it's probably Elise Reed's last fight in the UFC.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember that Melissa Martinez fight. I really don't. Didn't rewatch that one this week. But featherweight fight next. Jack Jenkins making his UFC debut, taking on Don Shainis. The line for this one, Jack's the favorite, minus 335. Shainis plus 275. Am I saying this guy's name right? I don't even know. Shainis.
I'd say Shayna's.
All right. Well, you think he's got a shot here against Jack?
Um, Don, nah. I mean, I think what I think could happen is I think a longer grappling fight could maybe play out here. Just because Jack Jenkins, I just I mean, I'm just not sure if he is going to right away overwhelm Sheamus. I think people have that picture of how Sadiq basically just ran up to the dude, threw a few punches, and then just jumped on his neck. And they kind of think that maybe Jack, but the thing with Jack is that his striking, I don't think he's really knocking him out and setting up a lot of big knockout shots on the feet, in my opinion. So I think it would have to kind of be like wearing him down in a ground TKO, ground knockout kind of thing. So I think at the juice here of the over 1.5 and comparing it to some other 1.5s on this card, I think I actually prefer this one. If you can find a place that doesn't have the 2.5 that has the 1.5 and take it over. But that would be the only thing that I would be maybe looking into betting on this fight. But because just Sheamus, he doesn't throw enough strikes. He's not, you know, uh, dangerous enough. Feel to beat a guy like Jack Jenkins.
Yeah, I was pretty or pretty impressed what I saw from Jenkins. Thought his striking kind of reminds me of Volk a little bit, where he's fighting behind the leg kick, the calf kick. He's kind of parrying his hands out there, getting a sense for the range, popping his jab in his opponent's faces. And I mean, his whole offense kind of revolves around that leg kick, and he's been successful hitting it on a lot of opponents. And when I saw him defending takedowns, I thought he had a pretty good understanding of underhooks and getting off the cage. Maybe he would get his back pushed to the cage, and he would do really well with the underhooks. Changing the position around. He fought and lost to a guy named Medina a few years ago, and then in the rematch, he just torched the guy and beat him up the entire time. So it's clear that this guy is making big strides in improvements. I thought his contender series fight was a pretty good performance. It took him a pretty long time to finish the guy. And he also fought a guy, Rod Costa, in his last fight or second to last fight. I mean, he was beating this guy up from the second the fight started. I mean, it was a complete wash. And Jack still didn't finish him. 25 minutes, just let the fight keep going. I almost think that he might have wanted the fight to go the full 5 rounds just to kind of test his own cardio. But if it wasn't that reason, I don't understand what was going on there. I mean, it looked like he never really put his foot on the gas. So maybe have some questions about Jack's finishing ability if he wasn't able to finish that guy. And he did go real late with that guy on the contender series. So I understand people playing the overs here, but I think this one should be really should be all Jack. I mean, I think he's pretty adequately prepared for these takedowns that are coming from Don. Don's wrestling in his top position really isn't that good. I mean, I've seen him take a lot of guys down and then be reversed by those same guys and lay on his back for extended periods. So I don't really think the grappling threat of Shanice is anything to worry about. And I think that Jack, beats him up pretty handily on the feet. That'll do. By the way, that's the second leg of the parlay. And the third leg is coming up next. Lightweight division: Jamie Mullarkey, Francisco Prado. Mullarkey's the favorite, minus 280. Prado plus 240. I mean, Prado sucks, man. I mean, I don't know where they got this guy from, but I mean, there's nothing to say good about this guy. His last fight, he did have some wild swing fest against some bum opponent where he kind of got a nice knockout over him. But outside of that, I mean, he looks like a really bad grappler. First of all, he can't defend takedowns. He uh, he gets stuck on his back for long periods, and his striking is just wild, sloppy shit. So unless he catches Malarkey with some wild, sloppy shit early on here, I think he's going to get drowned in like Malarkey likes to do. I mean, Malarkey's great at just taking a slow start and just putting it on you in rounds 2 and 3. The guy's got really good cardio, and Prado's never been to the decision, only been in round 3 one time. So I think the later the fight goes, the more Malarkey's going to take over. And check out those round 2, round 3 props for Malarkey. Let's see what they are. Malarkey round 2, plus 550, and round 3 plus 1,000. That's not that good. But our boy Pepe Silvia was talking about a line for Malarkey round 2, round 3 sub is plus 2,300 on FanDuel. So I bet that myself. And Malarkey's the third leg of the parlay. Three, big favorites. Thinking anything
Right
here?
here. Yes, I'm thinking about something right here, Martian. Found my favorite bet thus far. Under 2.5. This fight is not going 3 rounds. It's not happening. It is there's no way this fight will go 3 rounds.
Oh, I
All right.
bet that shit too. I bet that shit too. Yeah, I forgot.
This fight is going under, okay? Because Jamie Mullarkey, right? I love Jamie Mullarkey, right? Malaki, if longtime listeners know. But you saw that Michael Johnson fight. The guy's getting cracked a little bit, right? And the reason he's getting cracked is because he's there. He's trying to knock the other guy the fuck out as well. But Jamie Mullarkey, one, does not want a fight to go like that again, where he's kind of going life and death like that in the third. So he's coming to finish this guy early. And if he doesn't, I mean, I just feel like this Francisco Prado, if the reason that he doesn't finish him is gonna have to be because Francisco Prado has something to offer, I feel, in the terms of damaging Jamie. I don't think this guy basically what I'm telling you is there's no way from what I saw that Francisco Prado is like well schooled, defense, like, escape. No. The only way he's winning this fight is if he starts trading with Jamie Mullarkey exactly like Michael Johnson did, and he hits him himself, or maybe gets like a grappling position. But I like this fight under. Where's the 2.5? I
Minus
gotta find it.
155 on DraftKings.
Is that what? Yeah, I love
I
that.
bet it
I
at
like that.
160, and it's going the opposite way, man. I
Oh,
mean,
I like the under. I love the under. I love it.
yeah,
Love the under.
I agree. Um, Next fight, flyweight division, fun fight here. Cleaton Rodriguez, Shannon Ross. Rodriguez minus 320, Ross plus 270. Your turn to start this one off. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, Shannon Ross might be concussed still from that last fight he had against Salvador, and we hit pretty nice on Salvador. I don't know what happened with that Shannon Ross sign. Like, if I think there was like an issue with some of the tape to find with him because I think his last two fights, like some people hadn't seen, but I think in both of those fights he got dropped, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he
And
did.
I think maybe even the fight before that, I think he might have also been dropped against that Paul Luga guy, Loga. But either way, then he gets dropped multiple times against Salvador, and it just showed to me the guy's chin is definitely very questionable. His just like method mindset when he's kind of like approaching is just not good. If he can't mix in the grappling, which I guess I don't know, I don't remember if he shot any takedowns against Salvador. I don't think he did, but I think if he can't mix the grappling, he just can't really fight at the top level. So I don't think that's great for him in a fight against Clitson. I do think this guy's very, very good and talented. Um, but I'm not jumping. Did you put him in the parlay? You said you put him in the
No,
parlay, right?
I
No,
didn't.
this guy. Okay, this guy's not in the parlay. So, like, he bullies Santo, which I'm kind of familiar with. Santo actually, he's from the Northeast. Know a few guys that train very, very closely with him, like literally daily. And the guy's he's a lot smaller, and I don't think it's like a crazy significant win, or something that I should be like, all right, like this guy's definitely guy that should be winning, consistently in the UFC or always, favored. Like Shannon Ross, guy's a tough. He's a tough guy, tough out. Obviously, you saw him keep coming after getting knocked down by Salvador, and then he won that fight, the other fight against Donovan, right before that after getting dropped as well. So it's a tough dude. So I don't really want to lay the juice on Rodriguez. I don't really think his hands are that great or like accurate. So, there might be some value in Shannon Ross, honestly. Maybe, as long as because I just think his grappling like it's better than Vergara, in my opinion. Um, Especially offensively. So I think if he could stay in the pocket with Rodriguez and be able to shoot some takedowns, put him on his back, I think he might be cooking with something here. But
Yeah, I took the under here, under 2.5, plus 100 for a unit and a half. I mean, I almost went bigger, but I'm not in love with the finishing ability of Kleedson. I think he does have some nice offensive striking, a little bit of pop behind his punches, but not a super powerful striker. But just the way that Ross fights, man, this guy seems like every fight of his can go under. He just goes balls to the wall, even if he gets hurt and dropped like Salvador did. I mean, uh, he didn't let that deter him at all. That's the one good takeaway you can
No,
come from that fight.
he was in that kitchen. He was
Yeah.
in that
I mean, he
kitchen.
did not give one fuck that he got dropped several times. He just got right back up and got in the guy's face. So I made a tweet kind of, trashing this guy earlier in the week because he does have 5 losses on the Aussie regional scene. He did get dropped 3 times in his last fight. He has only won one fight in the past 3 years. But if you watch that fight in the Contender Series, I mean, he did go for it. He bit his mouthpiece and he went for it. So I just think that he's probably going to be walking into strikes here like he does in all of his fights. Like Ozzy said, it's been 3 fights in a row he's been dropped now, and he got dropped 3 times in that last one. So 5 knockdowns across his past 3 fights, and that's just bad, man. I mean that's the type of fighter I want to bet the under on, because I think Cleaton will probably be hitting him here. I think that Cleaton might even have some grappling upside. If you look at the lines for this one, Cleaton KO and sub are right around the same price, so they think it's kind of equally possible that whether it could be sub or KO. And, Rodriguez, looks a little gassy himself. Kind of, had some gassy moments versus Vergara. So if he has an early flurry here and it doesn't put Ross away, Ross might just, come at him and drown him late. So I like this under 2.5. I think it should just be a crazy pace fight. And hopefully one guy finds the finish. So next fight, featherweight division, really cool fight here. Josh Culibao taking on Melsic-Baghdasaryan. A near pick'em fight. Two-way action coming in right now. Melsic -115, Culibao -105. I think when this line first came out a couple weeks ago, Culibao was upwards of +150, and now all the way down to pick'em. And I kind of understand the line being pick 'em. It's going to be a striking fight between these two guys. Both, pretty patient strikers. Not the super high volume from either guy. They're both looking to find those nice shots, and they have very good strike selection. Um, Now I think it's going to just be a pretty close striking fight between these two guys. I would be pretty shocked to see it not be like a 29-28. I do think it is going the full 15. And I just lean Melsick a little bit here. Actually, early in the week before I taped it, I was thinking Culibao. Maybe Culibao's power behind his punches would get him the win here. But I just think Melsick is such a seasoned kickboxer striker that this fight being a striking fight, I don't think Culibao is going to have a lot of wrestling success here. So it's going to be a striking fight. And Melsick's, I mean, his leg kicks are fast, his body kicks are fast, and he has really nice left hand as well. And I just think he's going to be a little bit quicker. And he obviously has a lot more experience in the striking realm than Culibao does. So I just lean Melsick, edging out a decision here. I'm not sure if I'll come around to betting either side, but I would say Melsick, very slight favorite, just the slightest of the favorites, maybe 55% here. So, great matchup. Really looking forward to this fight. Not sure if I'll have a bet yet. Interested to see your thoughts here, Ozzy.
Love this fight. Very cool fight. Josh Culibao had a good UFC run. He had to come in and get the business from Jalen Turner. But after that, exciting fights, good fights. Stayed at 145 and has done good. Um, but I like Melsick here. Now the reason I like Melsick is first of all the guy's southpaw stance coming at you. Um, you know, big danger from that left side, both with the hands and the feet. But the more fact is the Coolie Bow stand up. I just don't like it. I mean, the guy, he's kind of switching southpaw left, southpaw to orthodox. He kind of tries to dart in, like he's like trying to play a style that his body is just not suited for. First of all, and then secondly, um, you know, when you're seeing like him have success, having success against a dude like Choi, who's an idiot, and he just rushes in, he closes his eyes, literally looks down, and he starts, kind of just winging shots. And even he clips Cooley a few times, but I just didn't take a lot away from the fact that he had a bunch of success on the feet against him. I just think that Melsik is definitely a completely different level kickboxer. And in the time that he's been away, like I don't know what the deal is. Like obviously, I think he got married at some point. I don't know. But he's been out for a while. He was gonna fight Brito and some shit. Oh, he broke his hand. Um, but he's been working. He's been working his grappling. He's been working his stuff. He's been in the gym. Training with the Armenians. So I like Melsik. I think that he's gonna go to the body and be able to get this win. But would I be surprised if Culibao like got a takedown, maybe held him down a little bit, whatever. This is gonna be a close fight. It's a pick 'em fight for a reason. So it's not a big bet for me, but it's one of the few money lines that I like this week. So I'm gonna side with Melsik at this like minus I guess minus 105 on well, I don't have that. Caesar, sorry, minus 110 on Caesar. So I'll go with it.
All right,
Paper.
last prelim in the light heavyweight division for us. Tyson Pedro taking on Bukauskas, and the line for this one, Pedro minus 232, Bukauskas plus 197. Ozzy, I don't know if you're aware here, but this line opened up with Bukauskas plus 700 for a second.
Yes, that one. I heard about that one. I did hear about that. Um, I mean that's a wee bit wide. I would definitely say that that's kind of a crazy price. I mean, Tyson Pedro, uh, like, has he only had one fight since he's been? No, he's had two. He had Huntsucker,
Hunsucker
and he had the. But did he have another one?
via Villanueva. They
Villanueva.
really brought in
Yeah, yeah.
the
Villanueva.
the charitable
That's the other one.
donations.
So yeah, but the guy's like, I guess he's active now because it's gonna be his third fight in 10 months. So they're trying to push him, I guess. And Bukakis, like I'm very familiar with him. Obviously, he's like a Taekwondo karate guy. He's throwing these kicks around. Obviously, he got his leg destroyed by Khalil Roundtree, which that honestly feels like yesterday. Honestly, Martian, when I was like saying that did I advocate for Bukakis or maybe no? I think you advocated for Khalil. I think, and I think I might have mentioned Bukakis. I don't even know, but that was a brutal injury. Surprised that he's actually back and he already had a fight under his belt. But Tyson Pedro, I just still don't know too much. Like I don't like betting on fights like this because like you don't really like Tyson Pedro. I assume he's just gonna look to kickbox and kind of establish his power in there. But if he's gonna do that, I don't really like him that much in this fight because Bukakis is, I guess, kind of mobile. Obviously he had that injury. He's kind of mobile. I think he should probably be able to avoid some of the leg kicks that Pedro throws, and then he's also has long punches. So I don't know if Pedro has kind of like the dominance to you know take care of this fight, which I think goes in line with the angle that you see in this fight, which I'm gonna let you take away with because I think you have more thoughts on it. But yeah, the more that I think about it, I actually kind of think that your angle might be okay, but I don't wanna lay that juice, so I'm gonna just pass on this fight. But I'll let you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the angle here would be the fight going longer, going over, because Bukakis. If you watch his fights, I mean, especially his most recent fight in Cage Warriors, I mean, the guy is fighting with no intensity. I mean, it's a complete sparring match type of fighting style. I mean, if you look at his past, 5 fights, Crute was lighting this guy up on the feet with leg kicks and knocked him out. McCall, that was kind of a tepid fight. Roundtree, those guys weren't really doing much before the leg kick TKO. Chadwick decision, and then this Campbell fight, went into the fourth round and he finally finished him there. But the first 3 rounds, man, it's just slow, medium tempo striking. So I just see very little intensity from Bukaka. So I think that he's the type of fighter who is fighting to go the full 15 minutes. So if this wants to be a high paced fight, it really relies on Pedro. And now Pedro might come out of the gates, having effective leg kicks and, hurting that leg of Bukakis, kind of like Jimmy Crute did. But outside of Pedro, really coming out fast here, I think this one is bound to go later, into the second and third round. I don't think Pedro has ever finished a fight outside of round one, I believe. Um, and he had that fight against Shogun where he gassed out really badly and got knocked out, in his home country there. or I don't know if it was Australia or New Zealand, what or whatever. But and I think he, took a lot of time off, and now coming back, you saw in that Ike Villanueva fight, he's very patient, taking his time. I think he's really scared of gassing out again, and he wants to become a more patient striker. So I think that this fight's just going to be, a patient, low, medium tempo striking fight, and it probably will go over 1.5. Might even go in the third round, and might go that full decision. So. I'm kind of in the same boat as Ozzy, though. I don't think it's an easy click on that over where it's at now. Um, because man, I mean, Bukakis doesn't seem to know how to check leg kicks. If Pedro just smashes that leg kick home, he might get this one over quickly. But if it doesn't, man, it could really turn into a boring
His
kickboxing
lead
fight.
leg, isn't it his lead leg too? The one that
Yeah, it's
fucking they
ortho
got
versus.
broken in half.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
I think it's
Yeah,
the lead leg.
but this one is orthodox versus orthodox. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
If
It would be his
Bukakis
left.
says
It would be his left leg, and that'd be the leg that Pedro would be kicking anyway.
if Bukakis has any sense here, he should be fighting southpaw to, kind of negate some of that. But yeah, I don't
Fight
know.
sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. I think
Who
it'll
was
probably
Tyson Pedro supposed to fight first? A Chinese guy?
yeah, the Zhang who knocked that dude down on the
Fuck.
UFC. That would have been fun. Anyway, main card time. First round of the main card, light heavyweight division. Jimmy Crute taking on Alonzo Menifield. Jimmy Crute's the favorite
Banger.
at
Banger.
minus 190, I think. Yeah, and then Menifield plus 165.
Fuck.
I bet Menifield. I bet
Huh.
Menifield money line 1 unit. I mean, I really feel that just it's probably not going to look bad. I mean, I don't know if it's going to win or not, but I have a hard time seeing Crute coming off of what, a year and a half layoff,
What
coming
was
off an
that
injury,
injury? What was that injury he had? He had a surgery for what?
something knee, ankle. Remember,
Well,
the Smith hurt his ankle.
yeah, but he fought after that, didn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Jamal knocked him out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I mean, so if you're looking at this guy, I mean, he's minus 200, or he was when I bet against him.
That was the same
And
price that he was against the light heavyweight champion as well.
yeah, I mean, I think the market just loves this guy too much. I mean, he was heavily favored over Smith. His leg got shut down there. He got instantly knocked out versus Jamal Hill. So two bad losses, an injury, a long layoff, and he's somehow minus 200 over Alonso Menifield. I mean, I don't think Menifield is very skilled, but I mean, he's athletic, and I think he's dangerous enough everywhere here. I don't think he's going to be easy for Crute to take down, and I don't think he's going to be easy for Crute to outstrike either. So hopefully Menifield can make something happen, leverage his athleticism, catch Crute early when Crute's a little uncomfortable, and hopefully pull off the upset. I think it'll probably end by finish. Some guys going to finish each other in the first round and a half. The under is probably good here. And yeah, hopefully Menifield can do it.
Tough fight, but when I think about it, I definitely like Menifield in it. Just because the fact that like Jimmy Crute he does go for these takedowns. Like he has not shown me a lot of control. If and as well, also as well, Jamal Hill fight, my word. Shots, you saw the guy's fucking face. So might not be too durable. And I'm telling you right now, Alonzo Menifield, kind of durable and he hits pretty fucking hard. And you're telling they're pricing him at plus 180 here. Obviously Jimmy Crute needs to take Alonzo Menifield down and basically finish him on the ground. Like I can't see a world where Jimmy Crute's consistently taking Alonzo Menifield down and he doesn't get a finish. Because I feel like Alonzo will sell out for trying to get back up to his feet. Um so with that being said, just looking
I
at the
mean,
prop.
Crute is basically Misha Cirkunov, and
He really is.
and Alonzo just fucking stiffened him up.
Yeah.
Actually, that was an early stoppage, but
Come on. What was the price on the under in the Misha Cirkunov fight? Can you pull that up?
um, sure, it had to have been minus
Yeah.
205 or something, I would
I don't
say.
know. Something minus something. I don't know if it's that
My
much.
oh my god, it was only minus 143.
Yeah, so that was a good bet. So I kind of lean towards the under in this fight
Yeah.
because
I mean, these guys just go balls to the wall. I mean,
even with me saying the thing with like, all right, Jimmy Crute, like the control thing, main thing is that I feel like if Jimmy Crute starts grappling Alonso, like Alonso's either gonna freak out and just start, get away because he just kind of just lands some bombs in tight, or he's gonna freak out and fuck up, and Jimmy Crute's gonna end up submitting him. Both these guys, like I just feel their energy. They're under guys. They just really
Definitely.
are. Yeah, they even when this guy had a like fucked up his leg, or whatever, like just went to wrestling, like he couldn't keep that. He's an under guy, you know what I mean? Like, and he just
I
coming off
mean,
an injury.
Crute has ended in round one, 6 fights in a row.
Yeah,
7 of his past 8 fights have ended in round one.
these
So
guys, they're under guys. Like I wouldn't want like that over money is not enough for me to be
yeah.
interested in it at all.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I could see either guy getting on top of one. I actually don't think either guy is super likely to get on to finish each other from on top. So that's a way I could see it extending over one
But
and a half. Is
but
just a
wouldn't
lot of
you?
top time.
Can you really see Jimmy Crute knocking Alonso on the feet? I just don't like Jimmy
No, I
Crute's
don't. I
hands.
don't.
Like it
I
would
think
only
Crute's
be
gonna
if
have to win like late in the fight if he's gonna win.
let's take Alonso. We got
Yeah,
Alonso. Has Alonso been training with Pat Barry?
I don't know. So is he not in Fortis anymore? Is that what's happening?
Oh no, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it says.
Looks like Saif Saud is getting a lot. He got all of James Krause's jobs. I don't know if you saw. He does like the videos now and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Getting that money,
Um. One thing I do not like though is Menifield is 9 years older than Crute. Doesn't really seem like it, but it's Black
bro.
History Month too, so we're good.
There we go. There you go.
Yeah.
Come on, man. He's not. How old is Menifield? What do you have
He's
on paper?
35. I did not know that.
On paper,
On
bro.
paper.
That
Yeah.
motherfucker. That motherfucker is like genetically, bro. He's frozen in time.
That torso is not 35, bro.
Well,
Come
that
on.
torso is gonna be 27 until he's like 45, dog. And
Right.
then it's gonna age like 3 years. He's gonna be 30. He's gonna be 30 from the year he's 45 to like 60, dog. He'll look 30.
We're staying in the heavy divisions. Heavyweight next. Justin Tafa taking on Parker Porter.
Oof.
Uh, Justin Tafa minus 125. Parker Porter plus 105. Your turn to start this one off. What are you thinking about this one?
Oh, splendid fight. I wish my boy Waldo would have been on this fight to give both these Tafa boys L's. Have him pack them going home to. Are they New Zealand or Australian? Who cares?
Yeah, the New Zealand. Yeah.
All right, have them jump the fly the kite over. I think that's an expression those guys down under say some shit with kite. They talk about kites a lot, bro. Have you ever seen a kid? You know, kites used to be a big thing. You see
Yeah,
you.
like in like 100 years ago, like
Yeah,
it would be a big deal if a kid got a kite.
yo, even when I was like I remember when I was like in kindergarten or first grade, we made some kites. They're pretty fucking cool kites. But kids nowadays, imagine a kid with a kite nowadays. The hell,
They'd be
um,
bored out of their mind.
fuck, they'd be like, what? I'm blowing
They would
this in the.
hang themselves with it.
Yeah. Whoa. Jesus Christ. All right. So we're on Parker Porter. All right. So I mean, look, I like the plus money on Parker Porter. I like the plus money on Parker Porter earlier in the week. Just because the guy's super tough, man. Like, guy eats, punches for breakfast. Like, obviously, Justin Tafa, he kind of hits hard, but he's never won a fight outside of the first round. I don't, or maybe one.
He's won.
His
He's
first.
won two technically, but they're against like bums.
Do you mean? Oh, the other one was like 30 seconds in. So I don't really count that. But he's looked bad, man. He looked bad in a lot of these fights. Like Harry Hunsucker, that's a horrible. I just feel in like these heavyweight fights like this, like just bet the underdog. If you're gonna gamble on it, you're gonna bet on it. Just bet the dog. I feel like it should just be. It doesn't even matter who it is. They give you a fight like this, striker versus grappler. Even if they gave me a striker, if they gave me Justin Tafa at like plus like 130, I would probably just take him. But at plus like what's Parker Porter at now?
Oh
Oh
five.
05. Yeah, I mean a lot of the value's gone out. I put a little bet on him at like it was like plus 115, small bet. Um it's because he could ground Justin Tafa. He's probably not as agile and quick, so he's gonna have to watch out for some of those bombs. But I feel like he could just wear this guy out, get a takedown on him, press him against the fence. Is it my most confident lean? No, definitely not. But I just like look at the over, bro. The over have it at plus 110. I mean, it doesn't really make sense like a lot of these props to me. But do you really think just like it's pick 'em to go start round 3? Come on, dude. Justin Tafa, he does not have power outside. Like, if you take a few shots from him, make him grapple with you, shoot some takedowns on him, get him in the clinch, make him do anything, dude. He does not have power later in fights. And Parker Porter gets stronger later in the fight. He's like a rare heavyweight that you could say that's the case for. So I'm riding with Parker Porter.
Yeah, I really think that last fight against Almeida for Porter is probably like affecting people's judgment here. I mean, we're getting a good price on Porter. I remember like I remember hearing there was some new Tafa brother, and then I looked at the line and I was like, wait a minute, Justin Tafa, is that bum who lost to Jared Vandera? And if so, how is he favored over the legend Parker Porter? And sure enough, it is. I don't get it. I mean, I think Porter should be favored. I hit him for a unit and a half at plus 122.
Bro, look
And
at
I
these
mean,
fights, bro. They had Parker Porter fight Almeida, right? Then they had him set up to fight Hamdi. Then they had him set up to fight that monster, Slim, who fucking Fernan Lopez is holding
hold on,
hostage.
your mic is he's
Excuse
getting a
me.
little loud on us here.
Excuse me. But then they try to have him fight Slim, the dude that the fucking guy is holding hostage, right? He's supposed to be the next big thing. And now he gets to fight Justin Tafa, dude.
He's getting a break.
Oh, are you kidding me? That is insane, dude. Like, that's literally two Olympic wrestlers and Jalton Almeida as his last three opponents. And now he
Well,
gets
I
a.
don't know about I don't think we're going Hammy in Olympic. Was he? I don't think he was
Yes, he
actually.
was. No, yeah, he was in the Olympics, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, Hamdi was in the Olympics, bro.
I
Yeah,
don't think so. I don't
he
think so.
was, dude. Yeah, yeah, 100% for Egypt,
I
dog.
don't know.
It's like how, yeah,
Um.
yeah, dude. He was in the Olympics. He
Anyway,
lost his
let
first
me.
match, but he was in there.
I gotta go through some more. Oh yeah, so I mean, so you brought up a good point. So starts round two here is minus 260, 70%. So if the fight starting round two is 70%, how the fuck is Porter the underdog? Like if this fight has any resemblance of going past the first round, it's gonna be almost all Porter, I think. I wouldn't be shocked if Porter got knocked out in round one, but I would be shocked if Porter lost besides round one knockouts. So I think Porter's going to weather the early storm here, get the fighting close, clinch up, get some takedown time. And I mean, Tafa, he hits hard, but I don't think he's, a very thoughtful striker. I think he's just a big heavyweight guy who, knocked out some bum opponents throughout his career. I mean, seriously, his best win is probably Juan Adams, and that was like some bullshit fight where he, hammer fisted him or something like that. But uh, I think Porter's gonna win. I don't think he's gonna necessarily make it easy, but if it gets out of round one, I think it's gonna be all Porter. Maybe we should stab on some of these round two, round three pops. Porter round two plus 850, Porter round three plus 1500. That round three I think is looking good.
People don't
Um,
respect Porter, bro. Porter made it longer against Jalton than anyone in the UFC has. Oh, you better respect him.
three unanimous decisions in a row before that too.
Come on, bro. Who
So
doesn't love a heavyweight that can win by decision, dog? Come on. That's the
yeah.
best, bro. That's some people's love language, bro. Heavyweights.
We're getting a gif. We got this, knockout puncher guy versus this fat round bowling ball looking decision winner. But the guys, the
Alpha doesn't
Porter
even make
Porter
weight, dude. Sometimes he's a
this
fat
guy this
fuck.
fucking guy he's like one of the first people ever
What
to
the
miss weight for
fuck?
a heavyweight fight, right? Yeah.
Come on.
That's insane. All right. Welterweight time. Great fight here. Randy Brown taking on Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della minus 300. Randy Brown plus 250. A lot of discussion, a lot of chatter about this fight. And rightfully so, man. It's a fascinating matchup. They're steadily giving Jack, step ups in competition. And, Brown is a good test here. I mean, I think these guys are kind of around the same tier right now in the UFC. And, obviously Jack getting a lot of respect by the odds makers, and the guy's, a lethal striker. His boxing is super legit. His kicks are looking really good as well. And but man, the way he gets in the pocket and throws combinations, he rips to the body. I mean, he's fast, he's accurate, and he's got really crisp technique. So I think that is probably a bad sign for Randy Brown here. I was just rewatching the fight against Chaos Williams earlier today, and Randy, he's kind of getting really like overzealous in that fight. He was, slipping punches and showboating a little bit, making faces, and that shit's not going to work against Jack Della. I mean, Jack Della will, Chaos was throwing one big looping punch from 4 feet away, and Brown would be able to duck that one and, hit him with some counter shots, and he looked all right there. But Jack Della is going to throw, a 6 punch combination targeting the head, targeting the body, and Brown's not going to be able to avoid that shit. So when it's at distance, I mean, I think Brown's going to be in trouble here. For Brown to win, he's really going to need to come in with a game plan to clinch, to grapple, to grind against the cage. Because if he thinks he can, take Jack at distance, I think it's going to go really badly for him. So it's really a matter of does Brown, have enough respect for for Jack not to strike with him and to go right to the grappling? Because if he fools around the range here, I think it's going to go really bad for him quickly. He might get knocked out in the first round. So Brown, I think he is smart enough to grapple, to grind here. He has been training at Marquez MMA in Philly, which is, a very grapple, grind heavy camp. And I think Brown will probably attempt the right game plan here. But it's just, has Brown taken that many guys down? No. Is his wrestling good? No. I don't know, man. I think to beat Jack, you're going to have to be a good grappler or a really durable striker. And I don't think Brown is really either of those things. So I think Brown might have a little bit of clinch success here, but in the second and third round, Jack will take over, start getting that distance. The big cage here is good for Jack. And probably seeing a late finish or a pretty wide decision for Jack here. I don't think it's going to be a round one knockout. I think a lot of people are thinking for Jack to cover, it's going to have to be a round one knockout. I think Jack can cover outside of that. So I did bet on the fight though. I did throw a flyer on Brown by sub at 14-1. I figure if the guy's winning, he's going to be grappling, and if he's grappling, the sub at 14-1 is worth a little poke there. So that's my stab and read on the fight. What about you, Ozzy?
Yeah, so I'm obviously full on, all steam ahead, full throttle as a supporter in my New York brother Randy Rude Boy Brown in his career. But I am very concerned about this fight. I will tell you, I'm very concerned. Jack Della, the guy, he just ripping these punches in a different kind of way with different kind of intentions. And Randy Brown, although he has obviously a lot of things that will be different for Jack in his length, his ability to use kicks as well, right? High kicks, those front kicks, he'll teep you to the face, he'll throw the straight kick to the leg as well. And he does come from that boxing background where he's going to be familiar with kind of how to come in, and stay safe maybe a little bit, how to land that right hand, and how to, kind of land and be sharp and kind of just get out of the way sometimes. But the way Jack kind of puts together the shots to lead you into the next ones are, I think, a little bit interesting. Something that definitely Brown hasn't seen. He's fought Trinaldo, freaking Chaos. Like Chaos Williams is a very rudimentary boxer in my mind. And even he was able to kind of, stay in the pocket with Randy Brown and, you know, give trouble for Randy to really be consistent and win rounds. Even let alone kind of land, super damaging shots in their fight there. So if Randy's not really able to kind of control really the pace sometimes on a guy like Jared Gooden and Chaos, it's kind of got me concerned with if these guys are exchanging here. So I do believe that he should really be looking for clinch entries, double underhooks, look to get to a trip, look to do something similar to what he did to Cowboy Oliveira. I think that'd be fantastic. I know he's got really good grappling, strong guy as well, uses leverage well. So I would love to see him, snatch up a guillotine here, snatch up a neck, get to this guy's back, flatten him out, whatever, ground and pound. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's gonna happen in this fight. So I'm really rooting for Randy, but I don't think I'll have any wagers on it.
All right, it's going to move us to the
Could
co-main
could
event.
you take this one too? Could you start off this next one?
Yeah,
You
sure.
mind?
Sure thing. Co-main event interim featherweight championship fight. Yair Rodriguez taking on Josh Emmett. The line for this one, Yair minus 185, Josh Emmett plus 160. So pretty crazy. This is an interim title fight. First of all, just a note on like you know, just how the fight came together. I mean, Yair has one win in the past 3 years, and it's an injury TKO, right? Meanwhile, Arnold Allen has 10 wins in a row or 11 wins in a row, and not in the interim title fight. Um, and then Josh Emmett kind of coming off of a pretty fortunate decision against Calvin Kattar there. I mean, I'm pretty sure he lost that fight, and he, like the judges really fucked that one up anyway, though. Kind of a stupid fight here to be for the interim championship, but intriguing matchup nonetheless. First thing though I got to talk about is, a lot of rumors about this fight possibly with an Emmett injury. We saw today a lot of action come in on Rodriguez. We kind of been hearing this rumor about, a hip injury for Emmett for a while here. And I'd say there's some validity to it. I know that some, big betting groups out there are taking Yair, probably do have some inside information. And that, really throws a wrench in this whole fight. Because I think if there was no injury, I think that it would be, a pretty easy bet on Josh Emmett because I think the guy's got, a few ways to win the fight. I think he can win the fight on the feet with his, his power boxing, catching Yair with the big punch, or, the pretty obvious path of wrestling. I mean, Yair Rodriguez is a shitty wrestler. I mean, he gets taken down easily and he goes full guard on his back. He lays on his back for long periods. We saw Jeremy Stevens fucking drag this guy to deep waters with his wrestling, and Jeremy was beating him up in round 3. Max Holloway outgrappled him late in the fight. Obviously, Frankie Edgar back in the day outgrappled him. And Nair just doesn't seem to be getting that much better at wrestling. So, I mean, if Emmett came in with the game plan to wrestle, I think he would hit those takedowns. I think he could get easy top time here. But it's hard to really know what percent Emmett we're getting at here, and kind of ruins the fight a little bit. I guess I think you would have to err on the side of the injury news being trying to ignore it. But then you could also see Emmett at plus 160 and bet too much when there could be an injury. So I think if you're looking to play Emmett, I would go a little light here. Maybe a unit maximum on Emmett because there's a good chance he could be severely compromised coming in this fight and just get, torched early on here. But I do have a bet on the fight, and that is the fight not going the distance. Plus 110 on FanDuel or DraftKings, just for a unit and a quarter. I just think that with the possible injury news, that's good for the under. Yair is obviously very quick at the strikes, could hurt Emmett on the feet. Emmett could catch Yair with a big punch at any point. And Yair fades late, man. His cardio does not seem good for 5 rounds, and a late finish could happen for Emmett. I just think a lot of different finishes are on the board here, and when these guys are on the feet, they're going to be colliding. Big body kicks from Yair, big overhand rights for Emmett, and I think either guy could go down with a knockout here. So I like the fight not going the distance at plus money. And I hope Emmett wins, honestly. So, Ozzy, I want to hear your thoughts on the matchup and obviously the potential news about an injury here for Emmett.
Yeah, I think they said this motherfucker had a fucked up hip. And they said that he's got a mess. Someone said he's got like a messed up shoulder. I don't know what to, what's going on there. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of go into it. I personally, what one thing. I'm all jumbled up here. I'm sorry. I haven't seen the motherfucker on the embedded yet. Any training, and I like it for the UFC to make it a staple that we need to see everybody on the main card or whoever it is, the top 2 billing, 4 billing, whatever it is, hitting some pads. Show me something. Like I want to see these guys cutting weight, whatever it is, because the thing with not seeing TJ, I thought that when they mentioned it, I thought that was sketchy overall. But little did I know that it was like a whole injury thing as well. But yeah, I'm kind of going into it trying to see one maybe like weigh-ins, if you can see any clips of Emmett moving around a little bit. Because if you want to say the hip injury and stuff like that, like Josh Emmett, just a tough motherfucker, right? Fought a whole fight against Shane Burgos with the torn knee and fractures in his leg and all these kinds of things. So could definitely be a guy toughing out an injury, but also a pretty good guy to fight through one as well. Now, in how they fight, obviously Emmett throws these kind of like clubbing, shots, these big overhand rights and stuff like that, where Kattar was taking him on the guard, but it literally still won Emmett the fight. And Yair, he's kind of like a guy who he tries to think that he's like a little bit better of a boxer than he really is, Like, I don't know if you saw like the Jeremy Stevens fight again, like some of the stuff that he's doing. He's kind of throwing some shots and he's like interrupting them to like act like is like shoulder rolling or something. It was just really weird. It was really ugly boxing. He's a great kicker. So if he could keep the range with those, that should go well for him. But I think his hands are pretty bad. I think that if Emmett is able to slow this guy down at all or avoid getting his like legs kicked too bad, he should be able to land a lot of punches on Yair as Yair kind of like runs around. Yair doesn't keep form. He doesn't keep his stance. He kind of, breaks a lot of rules, right? You saw what happened when he landed that elbow on Korean Zombie. He's kind of like, running away from, he's not kind of like looking to engage a clinch or anything like that. He's kind of just backing away and stuff like that. And I feel like if Josh Emmett is on point and his speed is, good, he should be able to land a good number of shots on a guy like Yair Rodriguez. So I kind of like Emmett. We'll see where the line goes. Might make it a play. Might just wait to fight day. Maybe we get a plus 200. You never know what's going on nowadays. So let's see how it plays out.
Yeah. Generally, though, when we've heard speculation about an injury lately, it has been sharp. So that's not promising for Emmett backers. But I mean that would fucking suck, man. We already had the TJ Dillashaw shit, a couple months back. We had a bunch of main events last year. Aspinall, Ortega, Yair, and then Allen and Cater all fell through due to injury. So hopefully there's not another injury here. Um, that'd be a bad look. Anyway, main event time. Champ fight, featherweight champ Alex Volkanovski moving up to fight lightweight champ Islam Makhachev. And this fight is taking place obviously lightweight. And the line for this one, Islam minus 405, Volkanovski plus 305. Your turn to start this one off. I'm glad you're starting this one off, Ozzy, because this can be a tough fight to talk about. But what are you thinking?
Awesome fight. I like I kind of like that they're making it. I don't really mind too much. Volkanovski obviously he's ran through a lot of guys in the 145-pound weight class. For some people, they would have probably liked to see someone else kind of get mixed in instead of Holloway. But I mean, Volk has just been very, very sharp and landing these strikes on these guys. Controlling the pace of the fights. So the biggest question here is able to get the takedowns? Like he's gotten on most people. And I mean, I'm inclined to kind of think that Islam will find some takedowns, but then I'm just like unsure about if he gets a takedown, let's say first or second round, maybe early in the second round, whatever it is, maybe he lands two takedowns. Like, is he going to be able to continuously get takedowns like round over round in regards to the training that Volk is doing? I'm sure it's not like like a Dustin Poirier kind of game plan, right? Where he gets taken down by freaking Charles Oliveira, and what's the brother's game plan? Is let me hold my guard for the whole round as I get elbowed in my face. I don't think that's what Volk's plan is. So I think Volk is looking to, get back up to his feet, make Islam either choose, right? So it's like an additive when kind of like I'm kind of thinking MMA grappling. When you're grappling a guy, right? If you're hitting the guy, you can't hold him down. You shouldn't be able to hold him down. And if you're holding them down, you can't really hit them too much, right? Obviously, the Russians, they solved this shit with getting like the handcuff, right? Getting the legs, right, tied up, right? The little mermaid shit that they do, right? That is to solve the problem of if I'm trying to smash his face, he's gonna probably be getting up because my hands are occupied hitting him. So what they do is they control the legs, and the body with their legs. Um, so it's very interesting to me for the fact that I know Volk and Craig Jones, these guys, they know what I'm kind of. If I know this, like obviously Craig Jones knows, and he's kind of trying to school Volk on the ways to get up and how where they're looking to go. And I think that I will say the Russians are kind of predictable. Okay, so I don't think they're like a tribe of adjustments, right? Even if in like old war times, I feel like they look, square peg, round hole. So I don't know if they're, putting in a lot of stuff to counter that. And I feel on the feet, the Only issue I have is that Volk's main weapon or best weapon is his jab, and we're a southpaw versus orthodox matchup. And I really haven't seen Volk throw too many kicks, and I don't think he's gonna want to kick that much. So I come away still favoring Islam because I feel that even if they're on the feet, if Islam is managing his gas tank, the fact that he's got bigger power, a little bit more familiar, a little better matchup, I feel with their tools between southpaw to orthodox. I still favor Islam, but I do think that Volk, potentially could make Islam very uncomfortable in the fight, drain his gas tank, and that's when he would really shine in this fight, in my opinion.
That was a pretty good breakdown. I think it's
Thank you.
a little bit more complex and thought out than mine, honestly. Um, I mean, I think the fight comes down a lot to size. I mean, Islam is a fucking big lightweight. Volkanovski, I wouldn't say he's a small featherweight. I mean, height wise, he's a small featherweight, but he's obviously very, built and almost stocky. Obviously, if you guys know that he used to be, well over 200 pounds, it makes sense. The guy's, he's thick. Um, but the size is probably going to be a very significant factor here. I mean, weight classes exist for a reason, and going up in weight like this, I don't love it. Especially when the bigger fighters fighting style is very reliant on that size. Like if you look at Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez, the size there wasn't a big factor because Eddie Alvarez, isn't a control grappler who's going to use his weight and wear on you like that. They're two strikers, so it was a fairly even matchup. Um, Sort of similar to Cejudo and Marlon Moraes as well. A lot of examples we've seen of this. It's very rare that we've seen one where there's going to be this dominant of a grappling advantage. I can't really think of any other examples. I don't know about you, Ozzy. Try to think about that. But
Jan, he had a huge grappling advantage over Izzy.
oh yeah, that's true.
Polish
See,
power, Polish
yeah,
grappling, bro, is way better than
that's true.
New Zealand.
Right. So I mean, the striking for the fight, I think, is pretty straightforward. Volkanovski, probably the best striker in MMA, and he's gonna make Islam uncomfortable on the feet. He's not gonna have that, touch of death power though. That it's gonna, he doesn't need one big moment on the feet here. He needs a lot of sustained success on the feet. Leg kicks, working his jab, punching to the body. I mean, the thing is though, Volkanovski, not being a power striker, if he's winning this fight on the feet, he's going to have to keep the fight on the feet for long, long stretches of time. He's going to have to win the striking. He's going to have to stuff takedowns. He's going to have to get off of his back. I mean, it's a very, very tall task against a fellow elite fighter, a guy who's going to be a lot bigger than him, and then against a guy who is just, a fantastic grappler. Um, Throughout a lot of Volkanovski's fights, we have seen him taken down. He's been blast doubled off, off balance a few times. Uh, and he's done really well getting back to the feet. He's definitely a very intelligent defensive grappler here, but it truthfully might not matter, guys. I know there's a lot of footage out there of Volkanovski doing well, defending takedowns, getting off his back, escaping bottom position, but it all of that looking good on tape still might not be enough here to beat Islam Makhachev. That's just how dominant his top game is. I just don't see Volkanovski being able to break free from Islam. Islam's always going to have that grip, that grasp. He's always going to have his hands clasped, and I just think that Volkanovski might survive here. He might, get back up to the feet, but I just think Islam's going to be, clinging to his back, clinching him up the entire time, dragging him back down, and just making this fight hell for Volkanovski. And I'm kind of perplexed as to how the fight will finish, or how Islam will win. I really think it could be any of the three ways: KO, sub, or decision. I think I would say the most likely would be submission. I think just because Volkanovski is not the type of guy to accept bottom. Ozzy was talking about with Poirier. Volkanovski's not going to just lay there for 5 minutes. He's going to try to get up. He's gonna attempt to stand back up, even if it means he might lose, even if it means he might get his back taken or he might get submitted. He's not going to go out laying on his back. He's going to go out on a shield. He's going to make something happen. And I think eventually He's gonna, be in a really precarious position, like a back take, and he might get rear naked choke here. So, I think it would be sub, then decision, then KO in that order. KO being the least likely. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see number one or possibly number one versus number two pound for pound. That is an interesting concept, but at the same time, Arnold Allen's on a 10-fight win streak and he's not getting a title shot. Beneil Dariush is on an 8-fight win streak and he's not getting a title shot. I think that both these guys, Volkanovski should have fought Allen, Islam should have fought Beneil, and then if they both get past that, they should have fought one another maybe later this year. I think this is coming a little bit too soon. So I don't love the matchup. I hope Volkanovski pulls it off. That would be, miraculous to see, but I don't think he does. I think I'll go Islam sub 3 here. What about you? You have like an official pick?
Islam round 4 TKO.
Interesting. All right, well, that'll do it. I have a lot of bets tracked for the card. Might still be adding more. I got money lines, I got unders, I got a parlay. First parlay I've done in like 6 months or something on a track bet. So that'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting card. Keep your eyes peeled for the live lines. Always good there. Any closing thoughts here? What's your Super Bowl pick, Ozzy?
Oof, good question. I mean, man, I just can't root for the Eagles, bro. So, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is an underdog. I cannot root for the Eagles, bro. So, Patrick Mahomes is an underdog. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I think they're like +2, but I'll go money line. I'll take the Chiefs, bro.
What's the score gonna be?
Fuck. I think the Eagles defense is actually more shaky than people credit for. But I'm actually thinking it's still not going to be that high scoring. So I'm going to go 20, 23-20
Interesting.
under a game.
I'm gonna go 34-23 Eagles. Eagles by 11.
I hope not.
That would be
I
sick.
hope not. I'm
But,
looking for some prop bets this year. Last year, I think who won last year? It was the Rams, right? I won last year. Yeah,
Cooper
I
Kupp.
had a good.
Cooper
Yeah, I
Kupp
had a great
MVP.
one last year because I had the Bengals. I had the Bengals on the spread, and I don't remember who was up at halftime, but I won my second half bet as well. And then on top of that, Cooper Kupp got the fucking MVP. So that was great. That was at like 9-1. We got that one. That was great. That was a great one. But yeah, that was pretty sick.
Kenneth Gainwell is over. That's it.
Kenneth
That's the prop.
Gainwell rushing.
Over 19.5 it is right now, yeah.
Over 19.5 rushing. Did she? I don't know. I'll look into it. Sounds good to me.
Yep. That'll do it, everyone. Thanks for listening. Hope you all enjoy the fights this weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Birds. Philadelphia represent. And, we'll see you all before the next UFC event.
Be ready. The next UFC event is not a pretty one. That one, we have to do.
What do we have to do?
We have to do that. We have to do that. Episode will be out a day early.
Okay. Sounds good. You heard it here first. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. See you all next time. Peace out.